What's up, guys? Now that the Clone Wars is back, we figured we would do basically the same thing that we did for The Mandalorian, where we do a review video and then we would just do a sit-down discussion of all of these new episodes. So this is the first one.
Here we go.
I wanted to talk about it, especially for this first arc. I have seen all of the old story reels that the Bad Batch was, I don't even want to say based off of. Like, there were shot-for-shot sequences taken out of those reels. But Molly, you've never seen them.
No. You pulled up a clip of it this morning after we saw the episode, and I was like, wow, yeah, that is shot for shot, pretty much. They tweaked a few things, but it was interesting.
Yeah, and I wanted to pull it up because I was like, there are some scenes in here I don't remember, and we'll talk about that, but that's kind of the dynamic that we have right now, as I'm coming from it as having seen this story years ago. I just now finally got to see it fully realized, but Molly, you're watching this for the first time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what did you think of it?
I liked it. I did think it was interesting that we've come this far in the series, and some of the other clones are just now figuring out that there are, like, purposefully mutated clones out there.
It does seem funny.
That they just don't know about. Cody knows about them.
He seems to be the only one.
And yeah.
But yeah, I also think it's funny where it's like, we're at the end of the war. Like, this is the last 12 episodes, and supposedly we're going to see Order 66 and the Siege of Mandalore, but like, we're in the last home stretch, and we're just now learning about the Bad Batch. It is kind of funny.
Yeah. But I did like that it's kind of a nod to 99. Mm-hmm. That was a nice touch. Well, that's exactly literally the line. That's
it is a nice touch, Rex. Yeah, so I think you have some opinions on the Bad Batch themselves, though.
Yeah. I mean, I liked them for the most part. I don't like the idea that they're just like, oh, well, we're better than you guys because we are specifically made to be. But especially, what's the big guy's name? Wrecker. I keep wanting to call him Heavy, but yeah, that's not right.
I mean, he is a lot like the Heavy in that Team Fortress. It's been a while since I played any video game that wasn't Star Wars.
Yeah.
He's kind of like him.
But yeah, he's very Hulk smash to me. Uh-huh. Like, I don't want to call him simple because I'm sure he's smart.
I mean, they're very over the top, and that's clearly all he cares about, mm-hmm. is just smashing things, breaking things. He's disappointed he missed out on the fight.
Yeah, when he goes in to save Cody and he like lifts up the ship and walks away from it and just says boom as it explodes, I was like, are we watching a Michael Bay movie?
I mean, they're, I think, meant to be very over the top.
Yeah.
And like, he's showing off his giant knife and stuff, and they're all like, yeah. But like, yeah. what you said about them acting like the other clones are inferior to them is a great segue into the theme of the episode, which is like, embrace each other's differences, and that'll make you whole, or something like that. But basically, like, look at the differences in people and see that as a strength and not a weakness. And so the regular clones are looking at the Bad Batch and they don't really trust them, and then the Bad Batch is looking at the regs going like, well, you all suck. Like, yeah. you're nothing compared to us. But
like, with their weaknesses and strengths combined, they make a really good team, because like the Bad Batch is like, we're going in, head first into whatever battle. We're not gonna waste time trying to plan it out. And the other clones are there to kind of think about things a little bit and kind of give them some direction.
I wish that there were a little bit more emphasis on, the direction that Rex gives. And that Hunter does, when they take the outpost, Hunter's like, well done. Or he says, like, not bad for a reg, but it's supposed to be like a fun, we respect you. That was a good job.
Yeah.
And I wish they had leaned a little bit more into that.
Yeah, I do too. I wished that the other Bad Batch members agreed more and were a little bit more warm towards the clones.
And that's something that, if I recall correctly, because it has been a while since I have seen these reels, but like they stick around. They're in the rest of this arc, so there's still more room for that.
Yeah.
But this episode being like, embrace your differences is like, now's the time to do that.
Yeah. And like the clones are always calling each other brother and things like that, and I don't see the Bad Batch guys doing that. But maybe they'll all warm up to each other. What's
interesting, I'm just kind of now thinking about this, is the clones are all identical, obviously, except for the Bad Batch, but they all are also, they kind of strive to make themselves unique and different. They give each other names and they customize their armor. So they are kind of always living that. Like, we know that it's okay to be different, but then I guess the Bad Batch comes in and it's like, well, that's too different. So like they kind of have to learn to be on the same page a little bit more. But I did think that sometimes you hit an episode and there's like the fortune cookie and you're like, well, they didn't really touch on that. But this one, I thought it was a good theme presented well.
I'm happy to see Spider-Man back.
Explain.
The Spider-Man.
Oh, Admiral Trench. I was like, where?
He's like half machine now.
I thought you literally meant Spider-Man, or like someone looked like Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
But, yeah.
That's what I said.
I forgot Trench was in this, and I also thought that he wasn't in the reel, but he's in all those scenes. Like, for some reason, I thought that there was a big reveal that, oh, Trench is alive. But no, it's just, it's Palpatine all over again. Somehow Trench survived, and he's half machine, and like everyone's just accepted it off screen.
The Spider-Man speaks.
Yeah. Like Anakin blew him to pieces, and he doesn't say anything about it. He's just like, yep, Trench is back. Okay.
Yeah. Also, like when you showed me the reel, it was interesting when the clones first tell Mace and Anakin about their plan. They're very upfront and forward about it. And in this new episode, he's a little bit hesitant to be truthful and say, like, I think Echo's alive. And I think Anakin senses that and is like, you got anything else to tell us, buddy?
And then he looks disappointed when Rex walks away without saying anything. Right. I completely agree. And this was the big change from the story reels, because the scene in the barracks where Rex is looking at that old photo and Cody comes in and he's straight up like, yeah, I think Echo is still alive, which I was like, I was surprised they did that, because I enjoyed, when I first watched it, that surprise of, oh my gosh, Echo's alive. How? You kind of get to live that with Rex, and I feel like that's a little bit undercut by him saying, Echo might be alive at the beginning. And then just being like, oh, he is alive, and you're like, okay.
Cody's like, that's kind of a long shot. Like, don't get your hopes up.
In the original reel, it's like Echo used to fiddle with my algorithm and just make sure everything was okay.
What is this algorithm?
Yeah, it's pretty much just a MacGuffin that says like...
I was confused by that.
I still am a little bit. It's like, okay, Rex has all these battle plans, but then they're encoded by this algorithm so that separatist forces can't break into them and find them. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, maybe Echo died and had basically the key to encode the whatever, the battle plans.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe Echo died with that on him and the separatists finally cracked it. That I liked as an explanation where you're like, okay, that makes sense. And then the reveal that Echo's alive is like, oh, this is much worse than we thought.
So does that mean that this algorithm information that the separatists have been getting, have they been getting this updated information this whole time about the plans?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like why they're being beaten so badly on Anaxes, is basically because Echo is giving them everything.
Yes.
That's the implication.
That makes more sense, because I was like, well, then stop doing the same plan over and over.
Eventually it'll work. No, it's like they just know all of Rex's tactics.
Gotcha.
And so they're ready for anything.
Yeah. And I like how Trench kind of was like, what did he call it? Wherever they're keeping Echo, I assume.
Skako Minor?
Yeah, I like how he brought that up and was like, oh, I hope they don't find out about that.
And at the end, he gets a big what moment. Yeah, Skako Minor is fun. Like, I'd really enjoy the rest of this arc, and I won't spoil it for people who haven't watched the reels.
Don't.
Or for you. So it's got some good twists and turns, but I think what I'm getting a little more excited about is now that we've seen this one difference where Anakin's like, Rex, do you have anything more to add? And he's like, no. Rex is now hiding things from Anakin, and I don't really know why yet, and I kind of hope that continues to be explored. Like, it could, I don't know, potentially connect back with the investigation into the inhibitor chips in Order 66, and like, that's another thing. Kix is in this episode, and he is supposed to be at some point captured by Dooku and then stranded on some desert planet.
Yeah.
So, like, the timeline is, like, we're in crunch time here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that whole secrecy thing is going to play out between Anakin and Rex specifically, or if it's just the idea that Anakin is beginning to show more and more signs of paranoia or just like not trusting anyone.
Well, that's, yeah, I hope that we continue to explore this at least a little bit. Like, yeah, why did Rex hide that from Anakin? And I think that there's definitely room for it, because when Anakin finds out, he might be like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Whereas he always knew in the story reel. So I think there's a lot of new room for drama between old friends, where I was like, I was kind of like obviously excited that season 7 was coming back, but these first 4, I'm like, I already know the story. It's just going to look a lot prettier, which it does.
Yeah. Well, and that's why having this last season to wrap everything up is so great, because you were given these ideas of how it could have ended, and now they're able to do it in a much better way.
Mm-hmm. And I love that for its last season, it looks so good. Like, the best the show has ever looked. The animation is great. The lighting is great. Just, they really went all out with it. It's like a nice little consolation prize for, like, sorry we canceled the show, and sorry you had to wait so long, but at least it looks amazing. Yeah,
and Filoni recently said that, you know, he wanted to give the fans a good mix of blaster battles and space battles and, like, good just story and emotion, and I think we're definitely going to get that.
Yeah, I mean, something that I think Clone Wars has had that Rebels and Star Wars Resistance definitely never had was these large-scale battles, and I mean, those are expensive and they take a long time to make. So I think that probably had something to do with why the show was canceled in the first place. But to, come back and fully realize all this stuff, and like, the Siege of Mandalore is going to be huge, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, in just this first episode, whenever the Bad Batch would like go in, and they're like, let's just go and do this, the camera work was really amazing, and like, it was shot like an actual action sequence in a movie. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me.
It really did. And I was also, though, impressed, because I watched the reel right after we watched the episode to be like, okay, what other changes happened? But so many of those shots were like, the blocking is exact. So like, they already had all that stuff planned out. It was going to look that good, I think, cinematically, but just now the technology is there to make it really just, I don't know. I can't even describe how good this show looks right now.
Who do you think is your favorite of the Bad Batch?
Honestly, it's probably Wrecker.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's fun.
I like the smarty pants guy.
He's like, I saw someone on Twitter liken him to Donatello in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's like, every group's got a Donatello. And I was like, they could kind of all be likened to something like Hunter's the Leonardo, the nerd is Donatello. What's it, Tech? What a like obvious name for him.
They're just the Breakfast Club of Star Wars.
Wrecker's Michelangelo, and is it Sharpshooter? I forget the last guy's name. He's the Raphael because he's kind of surly. Crosshair, yeah.
Because he's got that cool crosshair on his face. Get you.
He's gonna get you.
Yeah. He was cool too. I liked seeing him snipe the droids and stuff.
Yeah, I like the Bad Batch in general. They are very over the top, but I think it's fun.
I think they'll grow on me for sure.
Well, you got 3 more weeks of them, so they better. Yeah, do you have anything else to add about this episode?
I don't think so. I'm excited to see where they're going. And I don't know, do you think we'll see Echo in the next episode?
I shouldn't. I know the answer to that, so I'm
right.
What do you think we're going to see Echo in the next episode?
Probably. The episode names are out. I should know this probably, but
I actually do think one of the episodes is called like Echoes of the Past.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I hope we see him soon and that he's okay and he gets rescued.
Okay. I can't say anything because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't.
And there's no war and Anakin doesn't go bad and everything turns out great.
Everything ends real happy, I promise.
And Anakin and Padme have their kids and they just grow old together.
Yeah, I guess like that'll be our first long discussion. It's pretty good length for that because I don't want to talk for longer than the episode was. Yeah. Although I do want to point out the episode was 24 minutes long. So they didn't stick to TV conventions. They added like 2 extra minutes to the runtime, which was probably that barracks scene. And I was kind of hoping that they would play with that timing a little bit more since they didn't have to worry about commercial breaks or any of that.
Yeah.
And they can make them as long as they want.
The scene in the barracks, it was just like kind of a punch to the gut for a lot of people because he's just like sitting there reminiscing about
all our old favorites,
the good old times, and you're just like, oh yeah,
the war's not even over.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be it for episode 1, The Bad Batch. You can also see the review that I did earlier if you missed that, and on our Patreon, we are going to be doing audio commentaries for all these episodes, just like we did for The Mandalorian. So if you missed those, all the Mandalorian commentaries are out now, and then every week, as a new Clone Wars episode comes out, we will do another commentary, and those are all for our patrons.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.